moving on, and I'm going to bring in somebody to talk a little bit about the next show while I work on getting graphics. So I'm going to give them a single. They are the co-host and one of the producers on our next podcast we're going to talk about, which is actually already out and live. You can actually download it now, and I'll put that in the chat for everybody, so you can take a listen to it if you haven't already. That show is called Conscious Culture. And to talk a little bit about that, I'm going to bring in my dear friend, Lotus Lindez. Lotus,
Hey,
how
am I
you
on? Yes, hello.
doing? Hello, and thank you for calling the phone. Remember that back in
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's talk about conscious culture. First of all, I'm going to give you a single while I work out my screen sharing technical difficulties. I'm going to give you a single and tell everybody about conscious culture.
So, Conscious Culture is going to be a podcast where Maui, and others, we have a lot of great other hosts that are going to be involved, are going to discuss some news, some stories, and politics in the West Side Chicago/West Side suburbs area. And Maui and I actually started talking about this when we started going on walks together, about how we wish we knew more about what was going on in the community, or that it was shared in a way that, was more conversational, in a way that we could digest. And instead of, asking what if, where Maui kind of took the initiative and was like, let's just do it. Let's just figure out a way to get more people involved in understanding what's going on in the community, but also not just that, but see how what's going on here is kind of connected in a larger global but also historical context. So I'm gonna be trying to do some research before each of our podcasts to make sure that we are kind of hitting a lot of those points. And then Maui's doing a lot of work in making sure we're bringing in guests that can really talk to different points that we want to discuss that week. The podcast that we have out, I don't know how many you put out, Maui, so far, but like one of the first ones we did was talking about youth protests. So when we talked about that, we were talking about it on kind of a national level, historical level, and then a local level, and talking about local kind of groups that were involved. So hopefully we continue that pattern going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. The first episode is out, is about youth-led movement. We have a conversation with Michaela Pye of the local Oak Park youth activist group Royal. It's an awesome conversation. She is extremely wise and not beyond her years. She is wise for exactly the age she is. So recently she had this amazing kind of confrontation with the village president, or mayor, as he likes to be called, of Oak Park. And I watched it live on Facebook, and I was shocked at the disrespect and condescension. And I thought it was really important to center her in that. And we have an amazing cast of co-hosts. So in addition to myself and Lotus, we also have Scott Sakayama. We have Tim Thomas, who ran for trustee in Oak Park in the last election cycle in Oak Park, and Michael Romaine, local reporter. In the conversations, in the episodes we've recorded thus far, it's absolutely incredible. Like, I can't wait for people to hear these podcasts. I highly recommend checking them out. So you see here, this is the graphic for the show, Conscious Culture. And we discuss stories, news, and politics on the west side of Chicago and suburbs, and we reflect on the state of our world. I think we have some very critical conversations. Lotus, anything else you want to say about conscious culture?
I just, I guess I wanted to talk a little bit about, what our vision for this is and how I want people to think about it. Is, it's kind of like what I hope it feels like is like you walking into a group of your friends talking with you about what's going on in your community. So I definitely think we have a lot of that warmth going on in a lot of our conversations, where it's not just it's not like we're just like yelling about politics all the time. It's real people's stories. It's real connections. And I just hope we bring a lot of that to life in the show. And I think we're doing a good job of that already.
Absolutely. The other thing I want people to know is that we're not just having conversations, we're also asking people to take action. So
Oh
every
yeah.
episode, there will be an action step at the end called the conscious call. So we will be making sure that we're giving action steps dependent on whatever the topic is for that particular episode. I hope to as well through our Patreon, which will be coming soon, be able to have discussions about critical race theory and documentaries on things that are happening around us right now. I know one thing I really want to do is do a multi-week conversation series on this wonderful documentary about the civil rights movement called Eyes on the Prize. It is a PBS documentary from the 80s, and or maybe the late 80s, early 90s, and it covers the civil rights movement starting from the mid 50s through to the election of Harold Washington in Chicago.
Hmm.
It is absolutely incredible, and that's one thing I definitely want to be able to do going forward with that show. And that's kind of, you're going to see a theme throughout all of these shows of trying to blend art with action.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very important thing. So that is conscious culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Just going to hang around. Maybe get you back on a little bit later.
Sure. Yeah. I'll be watching.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So that's conscious culture. That's the first one that we wanted to announce.